Hey paper crafters, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that you took the time to pop by my channel, check out the video that I've got going, and hopefully stay and poke around a little bit. I'm really excited to be able to offer some videos now and then and share my love of paper crafting. So I hope you find something that you enjoy and come back to see me another time. Bye-bye. Hey there paper crafting friends, and thanks for joining me. This is going to be my last video featuring this Bloom de Fleur paper stack. I had one kit left to play with, and so this will be the final video in that series. Let me show you the palette that I'm going to be working with today. So what I had saved from this particular set is represented here. So there's this really beautiful burgundy with like a magenta outlined flower. This dark green, this almost looks like clusters of baby's breath. This is actually paper made. It's a very, very thin sheet of wood, which is really interesting. It's the texture of it, and working with it is kind of an interesting experience. This is a craft paper with just some green leaves and designs on it. And then there's this beautiful vellum that has a gold design on it. And these were the cards that I have left that I had saved for this. They're all kind of a wood grain. A couple of them would definitely be better on cards, and so I will probably use a couple of them that way. And then for background, I chose this paper. This is from American Crafts, I want to say. It's AC Cardstock. I got it through the 12 by 12 cardstock shop, and this is called Oatmeal. So I really love that color. It went really well with just like these little dots and the baby's breath and the vellum. So I think that's gonna work. I had somebody ask me the other day, how do you find cardstock that matches? Now, keep in mind that I'm often ordering for classes and things, so I'm ordering 25 sheets at a time. So there's a couple of different things that I use. One is this little swatch set. This one's from Close to My Heart. You have to get it through a consultant. I have a couple of friends that sell Close to My Heart, and so they have helped me out with this. But it is just little 3x3 swatches, and it's labeled with the name of the paper. So this is super helpful for their papers that are dual tone. That's exactly how these scraps are. So it allows me to see exactly what color I'm gonna get. The other is this 12 by 12 cardstock shop does the same thing with its different brands. So this one is American Crafts, textured cardstock. You can buy their swatch bundles. For me, this is really important because I am very color specific. I don't know, it's gotta feel right. And so to be able to get down into some of these colors that can be hard to match and to be able to get a little swatch of it to check, that is making a huge difference for me. So just a heads up on that. That's funny, I'm looking at this now and I might have told you the wrong thing. I said it was oatmeal, and I think that it is actually smoke. Oatmeal is what I used on the last one. Sorry about that. So this one is actually smoke. It's their weave texture American Crafts textured cardstock. So anyway, I hope that that helps. If you're somebody who needs to order cardstock online, that is definitely a way to do it. So I have got a layout that I'm thinking about. I'm going to go ahead and get that put out on the background paper, just with the templates first, and I'll show you where we're at. So here's the basic idea for today's layout. I am picturing using one of the sheets of paper, probably the green, cut actually in half to make two 6 by 12 strips, and those are just going to run all the way across the center of the layout. That's just one of the ways I like to create a background, and it's quick and pretty easy. So that will be there. And then I've got Sunnybrook Lane 2A and 2B running across the top of the layout. And down here at the bottom, I have Paisley Place 3A and 3B. Okay. I pulled in brackets 2 to cut up one of those embellishment cards. So I'm thinking one of those can go down here at the bottom. And then I want to use this Captions 5 to create another embellishment with one of the cards right here in the center of the layout. Okay. Photo mat wise, I have 1, 2, 3 4x6s, and then these two are 4x5s. And then I've got a little tiny charmed 3, just a little like a file folder tag that I was thinking I could use on the side there to maybe put a date or the name of whoever's in the photo, that kind of thing. So this is the basic idea for the layout today. I'm going to start making some paper choices, and then I will pop back on if anything comes up that I think it would be helpful to explain. So a lot of what I did in this layout is pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to show you I didn't have exactly the size of a bracket that I wanted for this card. I really needed most of the width on this 4x6 card, and I didn't have something that was exactly the right size. So I really loved this shape. So what I ended up doing was lining it up down here and getting the very tip of the bracket drawn first. Okay, just to get that little curve. And then I figured I could stretch this curve out a little bit more. So I traced just the beginning of the curve, and then I scooted the template to the side so I could get it as far over for these letters as I wanted, and then continued my trace and shape that way. Same thing on this side. Started here, just kind of got to the top of that curve, scooted it over so I could extend that curve and go this direction. So that's how I made that a little bit wider than normal, just so you know. And then for this one, I have shown this technique before. I used this part of the template first, okay? So I needed it a little bit longer, so I just got my corners here, scooted it down, and then got my corner here, okay, so that I could make this a little taller to start with. Then I wanted to make this a little bit larger to have a background for it. So for that, I ended up doing the same thing as far as the height, but then I actually traced this with one of the small tracing discs. Let me show you what that looks like in case you haven't seen it. These are sold in a set of 4. Okay, and I ended up using just the yellow tracing disc around the edge of this so that I could make it about 1/8 of an inch larger on each side. Okay, so you can see how that's a little bit bigger, but then I also had to go a little longer. So that was just a scooch of the template, and then I traced the bottom. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how I customized that just to get it exactly the size that I needed. Don't ever feel like you are constrained by the templates. You can definitely manipulate them to get exactly what you want. All right, let's put this thing together. I'm going to go ahead and put this card here first. And you're going to notice that really what's going to show on this layout is this never stop looking up and then this flower cluster. So if you wanted to, you could fussy cut that and turn it into something else, like an embellishment for the page. I ended up really just making the choice to cover it up, and that's a personal choice, of course. So this is what I was talking about, having that green running all the way across the page. This is really pretty paper. These little clusters of the baby's breath are really lovely. For the top border, I ended up choosing this acetate. This acetate is beautiful, and I don't know if you can see the gold leafing on it, but it is just wonderful. And I think with that little bit of brown distress ink just along the edges, it gives it just enough of a pop that it shows up on there with that smoke textured background. I don't know, I think it's very pretty. I used this craft paper with the leaves on it for this lower border. looks like this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Originally when I traced this, I was thinking I was going to go with the solid craft, but I ended up deciding that I wanted the leafy side. So this isn't going to line up perfectly with the templates I have laid out here because they're upside down, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I ended up really liking the way that this looked with the leafy side. So at first I thought it was too much, and then I decided, nope, not too much. I'm going for it. So that'll be something like that. I wanted to seal some of these seams. So to do that, I ended up choosing some of the burgundy cardstock that has that magenta leafing on it. And this is just a rough layout, you guys, so I'll just do that quickly. So I did that for all 4 seams. Okay. So anytime I bring 2 pieces of paper together, I often will seal them with something, whether it's a strip of paper, ribbon, washi tape, something to just kind of finish it. And so that's what I ended up doing there. Once I put my photo mats on, as I was thinking about this, I did decide I wanted another touch of that gold metallic foil. So I cut the tiniest little strips. These are just an 1/8 inch. Okay, but they're going to run just like this. So right between that burgundy and the green, because I felt like that burgundy was pretty dark, right up against the green that was pretty dark. And although I liked it, I wanted something to, I don't know, just give it a little tiny bit more visual interest and a little bit of division, I guess, between those dark colors. So that's how that ended up coming together. And then we got to all of the embellishments. So I already showed you this one. Okay, so that one's going to go here, right in the middle. And I may end up pushing everything up a tiny bit more and down a tiny bit more, because I don't want these pieces to touch the top and bottom. I don't know why, but I had already made up my mind about that. Here's one of the 4x6 mats. I just used that same burgundy paper. I think it's beautiful. It's very rich. And even though it's part of the background design, I think it's fine to bring that in as the photo mats. So I used that for all 3 of the 4x6s. And then I used this wooden paper. I will tell you, this stuff is really, really delicate. So if you go to use it, just kind of be careful. It would snap really easily. I have never worked with a wooden paper like this. It's really interesting, but it's very, very thin, and it could easily be kind of snapped. So I did use it to make one of these file folder labels, because once I put these mats here, I wanted to pull that wood across the layout. I also made a couple of photo corners for each one of these. So again, these are delicate, and when I was inking them, I could definitely feel that paper wanting to buckle. So just be careful. I'm actually really looking forward to getting this all taped down before I mess anything up. All right, so we've got all of this going on. I do want to do something on here. The template has some little like teardrop designs. I think I'm going to do those with either some small pieces of paper or something like a liquid pearl. I haven't decided for sure yet, but I do want to embellish this little bit of this tag. Okay. And then out of one of the other cards that I had left, I just fussy cut these little flowers, and I was just thinking I would put them up in the corner. That way you've got the flowers here, here, and on here, just to kind of carry that across. The wood is represented across the layout, and then the different floral designs really carry all over. So this is what I came up with for this particular layout, and this, like I said, finishes up that Bloom de Fleur stack. I'll have to break out a new stack here pretty soon so that we have a new series to work with. So I hope this gave you some ideas and got you inspired to pull out your stacks and get busy. I've had a lot of fun with this one. There is a whole series of these videos, like I said. I will link them throughout this video, so go back and watch for those to pop up as suggestions if you have not seen the others. So thank you so much for spending part of your day with me, and I hope that whatever you are doing, you're having a great time. Take care. Bye-bye.